Namaste, I'm Astrologer Divyashree. Hello friends. I will be talking about the effects of planets in the 7th house of a birth chart. Every planet, when it is present in a particular house, has its own effect. The first house in the horoscope is the self. We call it Tanubhava. It says a lot about what you are, who you are. There are 12 houses in the horoscopes, we know that. So the first house talks about who you are. The second house says how your family life will be. The third house says your relationship in the society and your siblings basically. And the fourth house talks about your immobile assets and properties. The fifth house talks about your creativity and progeny, children. The sixth house talks about enemies you will have in life. The 7th house talks about married life and relationships. The 8th house talks about the end of life, the kind of trauma that you may go through, and diseases. The 9th house talks about the kind of fortune you're born with. The 10th house talks about the profession. 11th house talks about friends, groups, and wish fulfillment, financial gains. And the 12th house talks about losses in life in general. So, we said the 7th house is going to talk about the kind of marriage that we will have. 7th house is called the Kalatrasthana, the house of the spouse. Mars in 7th house. Mars or Kuja. Kuja is a planet who signifies physical action, adventure, and fire. So if you have Kuja in your 7th house, this is commonly known as the Kuja Dosha. Let us understand what is this Kuja Dosha. It's no big deal when you understand what happens because of this. Mars is a planet which demands a lot. And Mars is a planet which acts first and then thinks. So your partner is the kind who will act first and then think. They are so carried away with the need for action that it is very difficult to hold them down. When they want to do something, they just want to do it. If they die, if others die, if the earth goes down, they don't care. They just have to do it first. It becomes so difficult to control that energy. So many a times you need to let them do it and be prepared to face the consequences. A lot of energy mismatch can happen. A Mars in 7 can only be balanced with a Mars in the 7th, or Mars in 4th, or a Mars in 11th house, Mars in 12th house. So we need to understand that there is an energy balance required when you have Mars in your 7th house. Extremely energetic partner. If you keep them in good terms, they are ready to do anything for you, just like the Hanuman did. They will bring you a mountain if you ask them. They will take you on top of the Everest if you want them to. But the thing is, you must be intelligent enough to get these things done from them. Don't offend them. Their anger is extremely bitter and it is devastating. In that anger, they may really end up doing big damages, which immediately once the anger comes down, they will regret. They will regret very deeply, but the anger is such that they just can't control it. So this is an explosive placement of Mars being in the 7th house. You need to be very careful about a person. So like I said, if you also balance it out with a Mars in 7th, then it gets mutually cancelled. Or Mars in 4th, it gets cancelled. Or Mars in 12th, the Kuja Dosha will be cancelled.